I thought that would be very easily makeable because coming up with a treatment would not be difficult and coming up with stable diffusion artifacts. Look, put it this way, I played around enough in Playground AI to have some degree of confidence at choosing a particular destination I'm trying to get to and getting there. Like, especially when there is like a storybook mode. Oh, look,
Right.
storybook. And this is the thing. I mean, since a whole lot of the world seems to be stupid, if tools can be stupid enough that stupid people can use them, then that's, and to a certain degree, a net positive.
Okay, so let's do
Oh
it.
God, I'm sorry,
Share
I'm
your
such a
screen.
twit.
Share your screen and start making the book. Make the book. Do it.
Okay, share screen. I'm gonna get the windows out first, so I know the stuff I'm working with. So I know I want to make some images. And because I know I want to make some images and I know how to make some images in Playground, that will at least be a place for me to start. Now, the written part seems to be copy AI. So I'll go to copy AI. I'll continue with my Googles and I'll click on me because who wouldn't, to be honest? Who wouldn't click on me? I would click on me. Would you click on me, Leo?
Already did.
Click on me. Do I need anything other than those two things? I guess I don't for now. Okay. So I would go not chat. I would go projects or templates. What would you say? Projects or templates?
So let's see.
Well played, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's how I roll. Like it's like we could talk about doing something cool, or we could actually just do the thing that's cool.
Do it. Do it.
Just do it.
Do
Actually,
it.
let's go to workflows and we'll go to new workflow because what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of set up a new workflow there. And so what we're gonna say,
So build and run all runs used as API for.
yeah. So what it'll do is it'll actually kind of create a flow that we can use repeatably. And so what we're
Yeah.
gonna
So I could use this as the way to prototype every flow I have for anything I do. Like I was thinking in these kind of terms without understanding what the program was trying to do and what you were trying to show me because it had been like my first exposure to it. I have been looking for a way to sort of systematize everything I do and merely having some beginning structure from copy AI. Like you want to do this, boom, boom, boom. You want to do that, boom, boom, boom. And even if I have it up on my wall, like that's so cool. I love that. I'm so happy.
it's fun.
Sorry, I
And
got excited.
no, that's cool. So basically what I would say is the way I like to frame these is I say like given X produce Y. And so like in this case you could say the given a description of a page in a children's book and the context of the page, generate the text for that
Cool.
page.
Also, really, I make it look harder than it actually is. Go to the search bar and ask for what you want. Is the
No, that
essence like,
this is getting like better and better, and it kind of blows my mind every single time
damn,
I
it's
use it.
sexy, dude. Doing shit is cool. The democratization of doing shit is cool. Why are people scared of this stuff, man? I have to shake Lobau sometimes. It's like, man, I love you. I gotta take you with me. And because I love you, because I gotta take you with me, you gotta understand the robots, my dude. Beep beep poop. Beep beep poop.
We help people get shit done.
Hey
That's
dude,
all.
describe your workflow. So I'm going to describe the should I set a character or a role? So the role in the role of Right, so I guess I should be more specific
Don't even
than
need to tell
that.
it that. It'll figure out what role it needs. So just say
Okay.
like, I'm gonna give you this, and I want you to do this.
I am going to give you a concept, or should I say treatment? Children's storybook. Give me a page by page treatment with story structure and I don't know, illustration suggestions or whatever. Is something missing from there, would you say? This is cool.
So I
Dude.
mean, I would say like, let's try it and see what happens. Now, normally what I would do is probably try to get it to just generate a single page at a time, but let's just see what happens. I'm curious now. So
I will press the
Wow.
button. You will not stop me. You will not stop me. Python Jesus. Oil your biceps. Oil your chest, Python Jesus. You will not stop me. I will press the button. I press the button. Build and run. Build and run.
Well, so what this will do is this is going to
I
give us
press the
the
button. Build and run.
no, it should be go. Just try like clicking into the box and hitting enter. I don't know why that button is not.
Aha.
There we go. That's doing
We
something.
did. Dude, I'm hype. I'm hype as fuck, dude. Look, I'll not try to be perfect from the get. I'll add bits in. I know I
Okay.
did it in the clumsiest and simplest of ways and
Oh,
probably
good.
the least effectual ways. But as a user, can I say something? This is everything that I want blazoned in front of me on my computer screen to kind of say, like on my desktop, it's meaningless. I want instructions in front of me. I want my structure in front of me. I want it's this day of the week, and on this day of the week, I do this particular work. So the the workflow would come out onto my desktop and smack me in the face and be present, but also aggressively and directly at the center of the structure of my doing. But just based on the way I saw it there, it was cool. So it just is giving me steps. It's not giving me the substance of those steps, right?
Right. So then you can hit run. And so this is essentially just a single run. So the idea of a workflow is something that we can easily kind of repeat over and over again. So it's not necessarily like the ideal for this task, but we can get creative and use it because it's fun and we can demonstrate it.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I hit
everything. It's ridiculous.
I hit
actually.
run.
Yes. So then you can because it is like set up to be generic in nature. So this is where you can really put in like what you want the story to be about.
I
And
want to do
ideally,
that.
it'll
To
actually
the side.
yeah. So
New
you put it in
prompt.
there.
Okay. I'm fascinated by the fractious nature of people's minds. And as I was doing this, I was thinking, okay, what would people typically try to do? They try to have it right in their head and type it out in front of you in their head. What I've chosen to do here is almost give it the different things I find in the scrapbook that are related to this topic, and then almost allow it to conceptually help me weave those threads together without me having to have an in the moment top to tail paragraph fresh in my head ready to come out. That's the feeling I get anyway. So I feel like I can just add story prompts one at a time.
Scroll down and so that is your story treatment.
If I feel like I left some concepts out at the beginning, because at the beginning I was feeling pressure to write. When I just type by myself, I'm completely fine. When I type in front of other people, I fuck up. And particularly when the people are like like sometimes I feel like just a giant polished potato. And anyway, so I
So then if you
want to
scroll
add some
down,
conceptual Okay, I'll go down.
Yeah. So if you scroll down, then it's got the story part of it.
I feel like I want to add some concepts in and then regenerate the story because it is about the sick dog, but it's about more than just the sick dog. And I didn't put that in the first
Yeah.
thing.
So if you just scroll up to the bit with the input, yeah, you could just modify it and hit run workflow again.
Okay, so
Well, so
so
that'll run with the same that's running with the same thing you already had in there.
so every
Um,
time I put a new story prompt in, it will regenerate the story below, including that story prompt.
so you can just you modify the story prompt, right?
Okay, okay.
So what you're doing is you're kind of just generating with the same
Oh,
thing
okay.
again, which is fine. But yeah,
Those
so
are
if you
some
modify that and then run it again,
sick.
it'll generate it again with all of the like with the added details you put in. So the subsequent runs are not related to each other than the sense that they are using kind of the same
Oh,
workflow.
little boy, my oh, the dog. My the dog. He got sick awesome when he got sick wouldn't after didn't I was worth it. It's not good writing, but I'm guessing it doesn't have to be because
Right.
that's not the point at this stage. Okay, I would consider that story prompt complete. This is cool, dude. Thank you for being a compadre. Means will always be my friend. Man
Yeah,
of
so we got
Ohio. Man of Ohio. Okay. So we've got the treatment, and then so that's the story treatment, but it's not the actual words. So based on these story treatments, I would open me playground AIs. And what I'm gonna do is make a folder for this particular project to put me photos in. And I'm gonna open me playground AI. And then I'm gonna go, for example, to bloody hell, mate. This is great. This is great. That's great. I'm gonna go to the exposition, copy and paste that, minus the word exposition, I guess. And then you go to copy AI, find me little children's storybook aesthetic, but maybe go something a little racier than that. Because I like the kids' storybook aesthetic, but I also like the let's not patronize children aesthetic. And
I
anyway,
mean, the cool thing about this is you could conceivably release it in like 3 or 4 different formats. Like you take the same story and do it in the storybook aesthetic, and then do it in like the dark Frank Miller graphic novel aesthetic, and then so you could actually have some
one
fun with
moment.
just the like variations.
I was also thinking too on the business development side of things, dude. I know I need you to talk to Peter. I need Peter to essentially have this brand of conversation with you because she needs to know what's possible, but she also needs to know that it's not just me talking. My point being that she one of her goals as a little kid was to make a kid's storybook. But I hit her with this concept last night, and it's fucking crickets, man. And I'm not suggesting she's not a tired individual. I have no doubt that she is. But I've had difficulty making her a believer in terms of making her believe that there was that what she wanted mattered and that what she wanted could be done. And I think if you're always in the bunker, just dodging incoming fire, you sometimes forget what to do once the guns stop. And if she heard some of these things from you, I think it would open her mind to the possibilities. Okay, so not profile, create on board, I think. Okay, so if I were to go to the story generation, and then I go to the exposition. And then I go there, and then I go. Can you see that? You're on mute, dude.
So I am.
Can you see that? Rephrase like Yoda.
Is that like a like some sort of extension you've got set up? I don't think
It's
that's
extension. It's this thing over here called Chat Sonic.
oh, Chat
And
Sonic. Okay.
yeah, it was an opera thing, and I'm just like rephrase like Yoda. And there's a part of me that finds the idea of doing that fucking hilarious. And I think when creating content, what we find selfishly fucking hilarious should always be really, our North Star. So rephrase like Yoda, rephrase like Yoda, or rephrase like Yoda. Introduce we must the boy, his dog, and their relationship, annoying habits the dog has, like constantly begging for food, bother the boy they do. Now we take this. We're savages, my man. We're savages. There were no rules up in this bitch. No, they ain't, bitch. Right click, copy. Where we at? Okay. So right click, you copy, and I'm going to put that up here, put it here, and then we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun. Let's do it.
Do it.
Any suggestions you have as we go through? Now, what I've typically done with this kind of stuff is just being like, look, my knowledge is wide and but not especially deep at the moment. So sometimes simple things, and this is for the people at home too. If you are a spanner, a dusty potato like myself, then you can just go, I'm going to plod. So I'm going to generate that. And I've only changed one thing. And I'm sure mom and dad probably don't want. That's interesting that it came out like that. That was not what I was expecting at all.
Does the dog have a
Isn't
robot
that-
leg? What is going on there?
Dude, I love you, dude. You should. This is the best shit.
Also,
Okay, we're going
what's
in.
going on in
How
the
do we go
background?
in? How do I zoom? How do I zoom?
You can probably
What do we think about that? Oh, my man. Okay, we'll have
there's
it on
also some
record.
sort of other dog in the background, I think, but it's like I don't know. It's got
It looks
something.
like
happening.
a walking sausage.
That's what my dog looks like.
Generate. That's sweet. That's sweet. So from this, I'm going to pick an aesthetic to then run a variation on. Now, it's interesting because one of the theories I'm also running with is that, oh wow, I knew kids with cleft palates. Look at the little boy's nose.
Mhm.
There's some really. Now, I tend with things this simple to just keep changing the filter as a way of getting a broader idea about what these things can do. That does something to me. I'm just going to start going faster because I know there's a lot to get through. But I love your on guard. I love your fencing. Like, okay, let's do it, bitch. That's the David Goggins approach. Oh, I like this. This is a bit of something. Oh, look at that thing on his shirt, dude. Nah. But it
Also, I
has
have to
a
wonder if
charm.
that's the cat like in the foreground here. Like, is he wearing a picture of his cat on his shirt and then
It
hanging
looks
out with the
like
dog while the cat looks on?
it looks like like the cat. The cat is actually a narwhal, and the thing on top of its head is a nose, and the thing on the side of its head is I don't know. This metaphor is getting
Yeah, it's
labored metaphor, not metaphor. You know what I mean?
I
Oh,
like
that's interesting. The cat's head is in the sock. Oh man, that's crazy. Okay, we're gonna go faster. I'm just gonna try and, oh, that's interesting. And sometimes I swear, man, there are things that AI does that I believe are genuinely new thoughts. Or genuinely new outcomes anyway. Now, let's try to be. Should I go back for the sake of fidelity? I should go back to the non-Yoda ones just to take myself a little more seriously, I guess. But because I do actually look, I could see myself selling these. So essentially, if you can relate a difficult concept, but you relate it from relatable things like a dog being sick, but also relate it from relatable things like farts being funny. So I smelled the fart on the computer with you and went, oh, yeah, fart. Oh, wow. Farts are great. Love farts. And that's an easy sell for kids. That's a laugh. One.
I have to rewind here just a second because I realized that I said something incredibly profound sounding while on mute.
Do it.
So you're talking like, oh, I need to take myself seriously and like get back into it. And I'm like, no, have fun with it. The art is in the exploration.
Put it this way, I did think to myself, okay, I want to make sure. I think the thing that came into my head, I think I gave it a self-deprecating label, but I think the thing that came into my head was I actually want to do this. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
But I do
think it
think
was
the
like that.
exploration is the part it's where
That
you
makes
really
it
figure
fun.
out what you want to do. Right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I mean, that's how I could make that choice. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna add some stuff in. Sick.
Oh my god. Oh,
Now I should. Ah, that's interesting. Oh, you idiot. That's so obvious. Okay. No. What a dirthead. What? Yeah, okay. No, this is fine. We can do this. You make
good
it,
after the fact. So if you generate
yeah,
the image and get it looking like you want, I believe
and then
there's a
just
way.
change it in.
I believe that you can like use multiple images and say like, hey, like make the dog from this picture. And I could be
Okay.
lying about that, but I think that's possible. I don't know. We can figure it out.
Okay, let's clown on the dog. Like, oh, snout to ground. I think the things I'm putting in here aren't really prompts. I think the descriptions of they're almost story notes for 20 prompts.
Well, so that's kind of what we could do is we could always go back to copy AI and have it generate what each page should look like.
Yeah. So generate a series of prompts to best illustrate it. Like, could I get it to generate the prompts?
Yeah, so here, actually I'll tell you what, let me
Individual.
I'm gonna take over the screen sharing here for a minute and just show you kind of
Say,
like
you have to say the secret words though. I have the power.
I do indeed have the power. Okay,
Love you, dude.
so
You're so
let's
handsome. Be
see.
handsome. Be handsome and smart. Show the people at home how to get shit done.
Let's see.
I never got down to the plot description. I was putting plot in the fucking thing. God, I'm a dirt.
Oh,
But
so
I'm learning.
what I said is like, given a book title, a plot description, and the story so far. So like the plot description, I'm gonna outline kind of the overall story, and then so I'm gonna do
That's
this
where you got the
incrementally.
thing.
And so it's gonna
So
do, yeah.
it
So
gave you the inputs. It gave you those boxes because you asked for 3 things.
right. I said I'm gonna give you this, and this. Here's what I
That's
want
so
you to do with
handsome. The
them.
handsome engineer who did that. Was it you?
It wasn't. Unfortunately, this is not written in Python, but yeah, some of the stuff I do is not typically for copy, but
I figured that if I wanted to be in tech, I needed to have a series of habits that were like, positive health, but low key weird. And human blood just seemed like a polite place to start.
It was natural.
Yeah. Always worried he's going to die. Then one day. Thank you for being the fast typer that I couldn't be, because I'm a butt. TSB, total butt.
That makes it a different book if the boy learns to appreciate his God.
Yeah. That's the whole point. Like, I honestly am looking at the dog in a different way now. It's like he's still walking around. So every time you hit run workflow, it will generate the next page.
Yeah, and so we'll have
So
to
you're-
feed that back into it. So
Yeah. So you're only asking it to do a page at a time. Do you think there's an increase in quality as a result of that? God, this is good, by the way. This is
okay.
so good. I'm
Wow.
having fun. Thank you.
Yeah, it's no problem.
You're Chad. You're Chad. You're an Ohio Chad.
Let's see. Let's flip on over here.
I bet you smash this. I bet you see the ones you get sometimes that look slightly disturbed. It's like there's a like if we see disfigured dog, it's not going to scream.
So in this one, we've got like the boy's head, and then
Hey, that's cute.
definitely has.
And
dog.
that look at that. That shit's real. That shit's real. And that would be. Are you making innovations based on that one, or are you
No, I switched it to storybook for the filter.
Storybook is an easy win. I mean, that's hitting it out of the park. And you know, the interesting thing is, did you see how I tried as hard as I could to make it as complex as possible? Whereas, oddly enough, when you trust the program and go storybook because you want a storybook, you get a storybook. Oh my god, tech is the problem, isn't it?
I mean, it's the funny thing. Like, I like to simplify things as much as possible.
I think it's just so elegant how quickly you were
I
able
have
to
to
do
say,
that.
it is funny that like I'm talking about a dog with bad habits, and it's like that's a beagle. And my wife grew up with beagles, and so I've known a few beagles through her. And then my brother-in-law has a couple that he uses for hunting dogs. And like, but I just love the fact that the AI is like, that's a beagle. I know that one. Dog with bad habits, beagle. Okay, so we can actually publish this too, just so we have it available.
Then I can go and use that workflow.
Yeah, it's there. And this is actually, so this is the super cool part I want to show off here real quick. Like if this just went live today. So basically you can generate these workflows, right? And then let's say, actually, I want to throw this on my website so other people can use it. You click the button and then everything freezes and then your computer dies, apparently, is what's happening. There we go. It is enabled. And then we have this. And then you can embed that on your own website and even customize like the button and what it says. And if you just want it to be like a form, you could be like, oh yeah, thank you, whatever. Or you can show the actual output. So this is something I threw up on my website as a way to give people a way to like just figure out like, oh, like what even can I automate? Because ultimately what I would love for them to do is do this to be like, I don't know how to do that, and then hire me to help them.
Almost to me,
But
almost like this website would almost scaffold my own doing.
oh, you totally could.
Because-
Like you can.
And that's more or less what a Notion is meant to be for, or like those personal kind of organizers, like to put the structure of doing in front of you. Like the structure of doing and the pieces of doing. Like my asset management, for example, is fucking trash. Like everything is somewhere on a phone. And there's stuff, assuming I end up looking at it because I find looking at my own face on video kind of confronting. But my point is, I need to have that digital architecture in place.
The thing is,
And-
like, I feel like Notion is really powerful.
Didn't feel
from
intuitive to me.
like you can do anything with it. And so what do most people do with Notion? They procrastinate actually doing stuff by organizing Notion to their heart's content, but never actually like doing anything. And that's why I really like our focus. It's like, no, the focus is not on like keeping all of this stuff organized or any of that. It's like, it is get shit done. That is
I
like the
completely agree for one thing, but I'm interested in thing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I completely accept what you're saying, and I agree with it. As soon as she did it, I thought it was excellent. But the other side of it was, I need kind of, yes, I can get the artifacts I need and put them in place, and yes, but I feel like if I have a repeatable system, because I feel like sometimes I'm dragging a lot of detritus around with me, like the things that we as a family choose not to face. So I'm carrying that kind of, you know, when you have a notion of what you want to achieve, but you might be around people who seem to be slightly unwilling to talk about their own underachieving because they find that notion confronting. Whereas I prefer to go, we're all going to be dead one day. Let's nail it now. But I know what you mean too. There's just so much. But the thing I've constantly noticed is every time you're showing me something, the learning curve has been really sharp. Like it's not confronting once you're physically there.
what the fuck is oatmeal?
What the fuck is it, man? Now when I see this means nothing to me. Nothing. Oh, yeah, that's it. These things down here in my brain are like, okay, they are important-esque. Calendar, I have like a Gmail calendar, but not a set of like organized goals into actions in a PKM board. There was a time when Peter saw me writing stuff down on a piece of paper, and as shitty as the method is, it worked for me at the time. And her kind of doing that to me in public just made me kind of shrink, because it was me very, very, very tentatively trying to do something, but doing something in a way like I felt like an impaired person, working with or going to work with completely able people who would mock me in some way for either my idiosyncrasies, my personality, or the fact that I was, handwriting in a scrapbook. I was handwriting in a scrapbook because having big pages to express expansive ideas and the connectedness of ideas was interesting to me. But that sense of always kind of waiting to be hit, because I'm dealing with the business guy who's used to, like, at various points I've had difficulty keeping the lights on. That's an expression. It has been a struggle to pay bills. The lights have not at any point actually gone off, but it's been messy. And then someone says, build a business. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I've had people who've tried to help, but the last person before you, not the last person, but the person two before that, and I'm grateful for all of them, was very, why aren't you just doing it? And absolutely, yes. But sometimes it feels like, okay, I've got to go and do this really difficult thing that I'm learning how to do and becoming more comfortable with as time goes on. But I've got to do it. I think the biggest thing for me at the moment feels like the Go One job, because as much as I fucked that up, I now have a place to do what I want to do that does exactly what I want to do and does it in the town that I want to do it and has other offices throughout the world. So basically, I could learn execution. I could learn execution without having to go to the States first. And I feel like a strong candidate. And just to ask them if there's somebody else on that team under that guy. But when you compare it to, oh, I want to work in a startup, but there's none in Brisbane, or I don't know enough in Brisbane. Yeah, I do. There it is. My point is, it's sometimes felt difficult. You know, when we go ADHD try hard mode and we're like, we're trying, we're really trying. And it might take me, I might get a relatively small number of things done over the last couple of days, but it's just been one or two meaningful things. I think you're right that it does drag you along, but I'd be lying if I said on various days I hadn't just been holding it together. There are moments when you question things. There are moments when you question things because I've been in unsafe situations before. And when you're in situations where you feel like the environment is more about other people's needs than it is about yours, and when one of your needs is to change, like Go One couldn't be more perfect. Now, if I go there, I'm going to build some confidence 1000%. And at that point, I don't think I'm going to be scared to do what I want to do. But equally, I could just choose to go, look, this is my happy place. I'm learning things here. I'm earning enough. I can take Peter out of work. And if I can take Peter out of work, then we'll really see what's up. Because then she'll get to have a rest. I'll get to feel better about what I'm doing. And I bet at that point, a whole lot of health issues will just magically disappear.
Dude, no worries. No, but it is funny how like it is all tied together in the sense that like
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
you do one thing and that releases everything. But yeah, like I think, you know, with a Notion and things like that, I think there is certainly a level of help that it offers. And like I use it as well because I jot all sorts of things down. And actually I've been like using databases and things to connect
Define what
systems
shit
and make it
is.
to right. And it's like, and I
There's
do think
nothing on my
there's a piece to
desktop that speaks to what I want to create. I
that.
mean, there's little
Are you
boxes. Doesn't mean anything to me though.
are you ready to be triggered?
Triggered as fuck. Let's go.
Here's my desktop.
Ooh.
I never look at it. Like I just save for all my screenshots go. And like if you see there's just like it overlaps and overlaps and overlaps
But
because
you look, if you've got a system, you've got a system. Like if it makes some degree of sense to you. So do
oh no,
you
like it doesn't matter
organize
because I don't
from,
need my desktop. I've got search.
so you just
Um
do search for everything. Okay.
and
Because
if
I would almost be inclined to almost have like a shell and have workflows embedded into that shell. So it's like,
uh yeah, and then if I want to find something, like it's almost always I just need what I just did.
so you just look at the most current thing.
I just have it sorted by current and boom, that's what I need. And occasionally I run out of space and have to delete shit.
Put your hands on my desktop.
I mean, that's
Fruity.
and you know, like I remember we were talking earlier on about the idea of like, you know, optimizing your workflows to where you're like more efficient. And what I was talking about, like I optimize for like how can I be hugely efficient overall, not how can I
know what you mean.
efficiently have a clean desktop, right? Like,
Yeah.
because that clean desktop, like, okay, maybe it can help if you want to like organize things, but there's no need. Like, I've got search and I've got recent, sort by recent. The rest of it, it's there if I need it, but I probably won't.
Do you know James Clear?
I do know James Clear. I really enjoy it. I mean, I don't know him.
I like the idea in Atomic Habits was the idea that you would engineer an environment to maximize the possibility of a good thing happening and minimize the possibility of the bad thing happening. So
Yeah.
when I say engineer my, like, not optimize so much as I would need to be doing a larger volume of work for optimization to even be a relevant conversation. The thing I'm talking about is almost like when there's a table that's designed for a particular thing and you can have the tools of that particular thing out on that table all the time, then every time you walk past that table, the tools of doing are right there. When I go past this table, the tools of doing are in 62 different places, not linked conceptually or organized conceptually in any way. And at that point, it relies on my frazzled mind and my frazzled focus to sit down. And the most organized I get will be like there'll be a song written on a piece of paper that I see 22 times before I lose it. And so there's just like a baseline level of like rigor to get the ideas out of the head and get them to some safe space. Because the other thing is there's nothing about my writing that I cringe at when I see it. So if I'm threatened by visual media because of body issues or confidence issues, sound and written is right there. So with what you've given me, it doesn't seem like too long a bow to draw to say that I could embed the code, like you embedded the code on a website. So it seems doable that the code could be in a desktop shortcut, maybe. I don't know.
You could do that, or I mean, if you're already using Notion, you can actually embed the form on a Notion page.
There we go. So I have that Notion page that opens every time I turn on the computer. It doesn't have to be a Notion page, just like anything that's got the same functionality. Then rather than seeing this large kind of diaspora of everything and not very much, I have a Notion page that would have, okay, everything I want to learn. What am I doing? Learning, doing, creating, playing. What am I doing? And then give me almost like a page for a page for each. Because when I compare that, just as an ADHD like visual acuity thing, like if you look at the number of tabs, I know they're all something, but I'd have to check on them to tell you. Anyway, I that's why I'd make the distinction between optimization. Like I'm trying to put the pieces together in a consistent way for the first time. But at the same time, there's certain habits of mine I haven't put together in a consistent way. So there's a part of me that feels like I'm trying to build a complex structure on the back of something less stable than it should be. But I think that's the point at which I'll ignore that, because I know that this is always going to be a work in progress and otherwise going to need to, like, there's no point in time at which I personally am going to be metaphysically pure because I'm too dirty. I'm too dirty, Leo. Filthy.
Unfortunately, life is
innit?
dirty.
Dirty.
I
like your idea too about the multiple types of book.
Yeah, I think that would be fun, just to like, because again, the whole secret to everything I found is iteration. And so if you figure out ways to like creatively iterate rapidly, I mean, the process of just generating the same book in 3 different styles is going to teach you so much about using the products that you're using, because it's that repetition, and you use it
But
in different
also,
ways.
how do I sell the family? How do I sell the fan?
Show them the book.
How do I? Okay, so I've got this project, and I think the cool thing would be this: as my partner, for example, wanted to make kid storybooks when she was a kid, and also because it would be a good larger content angle. Like, I don't want to just make the content; I want to make the content about the making of the content. So I want cameras in this house. I want, a editing, process going on. So I have the human resources here
So
I'm gonna
first of all,
get those
say
human
something that the
resources.
CIA might be interested in. They'll get the cameras installed, and then you have to figure out how to get them to arrest you and just be like, "Hey, can I get that footage?" I don't know. Is that maybe going a step too far?
It was a perfectly fine conversation. Perfectly fine. That's so funny. I'm just like, I honestly, God, I don't know when we can do it, but I want Peter to have more or less this conversation with you because I think it's interesting when, like, I have an appreciation of building public and what you do. I think it's always interesting when almost complete neophytes, like she's played around on Playground AI. I never understand as a salesman, as someone who's an empath who should know her pretty well. I hit her with concepts like this, and it's actually in her ballpark. It's like, this is what you said you wanted to do. So why aren't you doing it? Get me the answer to that question. Why aren't you doing it? Like, do you really want it? Because it's so frustrating to be around 4 people who are that smart, that creative, give them the tools, give them the computer that can use the tools, and then just have them stare back at me blankly. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why. It's
So,
literally in their interests. I don't know. It's like, what do you people want from me?
so when I said show her the book, I actually did kind of, I said it a bit flippantly, but honestly, that is, I think, a serious thing. If you put it together and say, "Hey,
Build it and they will come."
I told Leo that I wanted to do this," and he said, "Oh, let's do it." And he showed me a few things. And then I worked for a little bit on my own. And now here's this book. Like, it's not perfect, but I did it in this amount of
Proof of
time.
concept.
And then what you do is you say, "Hey,
we could do this better.
Can I get some feedback? What do you guys think? How would you change it? What would you do differently?"
Start a conversation without
You
trying
start
to
the
make it a whole
conversation.
thing. Oh.
They give you feedback, and then you're like, "Oh, well, let's do it." It's
Step
the
1, make the book.
get the idea.
Step
Let's
2,
do it.
show her the book. Step 3, ask for feedback. Step 4, ask for next steps.
Don't ask for next steps. Just say, "Oh, hey, let's do that. We can do that right now."
Yeah.
You've
And
already
then
engaged the conversation,
a
and then you
step
bring
at
her
a
in.
time. You are very handsome. You are very smart. You are a very smart man. Leo Guinan is so smart. Thank you, Leo. I understand this now. Thank you.
I'm here for it.
Step 1, make the book. Step 2, I guess the other part that I have to learn is the bundling process. Like, I've never made an ebook before. I am not certain what I would need to put it together with. Like,
I don't even know that you have to like put it together. By make the book, it's really generate it, maybe throw the text on. It doesn't have to look good necessarily in terms of like setting the type exactly. All you have to do is have the images and the text. They don't actually even need to be on the same thing. You could have throw a Word document, picture, text underneath it, picture, text underneath it, and just say, "Hey, check this out."
the power of doing.
But just remember, the power of doing compels you. The power of doing compels you.
The power of doing compels you. And I went unto the mountaintop, and I saw Python Jesus standing above his people. Python Jesus saying, "Hallelujah." And Python Jesus laid his hands upon me. Oh, the oil, the chest, the biceps, drip. He laid it upon me, and I was healed. He said, "The power of doing compels you." This will be fine. Thank you for being handsome and good looking and cool. And thank you for knowing things. And thank you for spending time teaching me the things that you know. I appreciate you. And you should show this to the people from Copy AI Because I bet they will think it's hilarious and that we make their product look cool. Because when shit is used by complete spanners like me, then complete spanners will see it and want to use it too. Because they will think that it can be used by a complete spanner, and then a lot of people will buy the product instead of a few. You're welcome. See you, my friend. Been loving you a long
Cheers.
time.